and to do it all without overwhelm. So when we meet, we eat is one platform that I use to do that. You also can hire my services out. I'll put my stuff in the chat too. But without further ado, we are going to chat with Christine. And I think that she has such information to give. I've been a part of, I think one of the, when you guys, what was it when you did it with the, it was some other youth, not, well, I say youth because I'm a little older, but the individuals down in Atlanta, I think in Georgia.
Yes.
What was the title of that?
The Young Government Contractors.
Young Government Contractors, right. And y'all, when I say informative, I was like, wait a minute. You know how you start writing? You know, like on cartoons, they show you writing real fast and then start smoking. It was like that. So make sure you have your pen and paper to ask questions. Make sure you have pen and paper to take notes. I'm like Janae at my pad, right? And so Christine is a civic firebrand that has immersed herself in the art of helping urban communities reach their highest level of growth, empowerment, and success. She's a speaker by profession, leader by vocation, and entrepreneur by passion. Christine's work involves using her voice to foster civically engaged communities through collaboration, partnership, and digital communication. In 2018, July 2018, so clearly like 2 years ago, because we're still in July, she founded Amplify Charlotte. Happy birthday.
Thank you. It was July 11th.
July 11th. So that's my aunt's birthday and my niece. So happy birthday to you. She founded Amplify Charlotte, and Amplify Charlotte is a company that delivers community engagement, outreach services, civic education, workshops, and resources for small businesses pursuing local government contracts. So without further ado, she's going to tell us more, but she is getting ready to give us the juice. So Christine, I'm ready.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to share this information with you all. And I'm glad that we have this intimate group because I have a lot of information to share. Okay. And if you do have questions, I want you to be comfortable enough to ask the questions. Thank you so much, Shana, for this platform. Thank you for the community and for the fellowship. I really do appreciate you. Shana has also agreed to allow me to have a part of the recording from the conversation today. So I want you guys to ask good questions, and yeah, let's just dig right in. So just to introduce myself really quickly, I'm actually going to share my screen with you all so we can get started here. But let's see here. So the event that Shana was mentioning earlier around the Young Government Contractors was a collaboration event that we put on in February and March of this year prior to COVID-19 hitting. And so the reason that we hosted that event virtually was because we were supposed to have an in-person event in April. It was towards the end of April. And in the beginning of the year, or really in November of last year, I connected with this group out of Atlanta that was interested in getting more young people to get into the contracting space. And so we entered into a partnership, and we said, well, if we're going to host this event in April, then we should host some learning webinars leading up to it. And honestly, it just worked out. I think, God works in mysterious ways. Instead of hosting the in-person event where we're supposed to have a 3-person panel, what I ended up doing was hosting 3 separate webinars. And I really do think that hosting those 3 webinars between February and May, I think that's what really kind of put Amplify on the map in terms of government contracts and local government contracts. So I'm gonna get into the Amplify Consulting brand, and you're gonna hear this phrase, relationships and results, multiple times throughout the presentation. All right. So today's agenda, I'm going to tell you guys about us, about Amplify, because we are celebrating 2 years. I'm going to tell you how we got started and how we pursue contracts, because that's what the basis of this training is on. So I entered into this consulting world through the government contract space and said, where's everybody else at? Where's everybody else that looks like me? And so I also had a lot of friends who were, saying, well, how did you get in the room, And so that's where we came up with some of this local government contract training. So we're going to talk about the 2 R's, relationships and results. I want you guys to understand what the opportunity is. We're going to talk about some numbers, the numbers behind government spending. I want you to prepare your company. That's number 4. I'm going to brag on my awesome clients. And then I'm going to talk about next steps and where you can find us. All right. So like LaShana said, I'm not going to read this whole thing. We are a community engagement consulting firm founded in 2018. And I'm playing around with a couple of different brand names right now. The legal name of my company is Amplify Consulting LLC, but I'm playing around with the brand name Amplify Community Consulting. You'll see a little bit more how that's going to flesh out. And I'd love to hear your feedback about that too. And so what we do in our company is we deliver outreach services through our public education workshops, focus groups, we do surveys. At the core, we believe that communities deserve to grow with dignity. We know that our community is going to grow regardless. New apartments are going to get built. New commercial retail locations are going to get built. Our community is going to change, but we deserve to grow with dignity. And that's why Amplify really is that middleman, right? Making sure that the community's voice is heard, whether it be through workshops, surveys, or focus groups. We believe it's important to get plugged in. You need to know what's going on. You need to know what rights you're entitled to, how to access these public resources. And number 3, we believe that business owners, much like us, should understand how to use these public resources as well. All right, here is my beautiful bio. And the reason I say beautiful is because I had gosh, you guys probably know her, Tierney Griffin. She actually was the one that created my professional bio. I'm not the best copywriter or the best writer, but she wrote this for me on my behalf. So I would encourage y'all to reach out to her. That's my bio. I went to UNC Greensboro for undergrad. I graduated in 2010 with a degree in African American Studies and Sociology. And then I went to UNC Charlotte for my master's in public administration. And my entire career has been in either county government, city government, universities, or state level government. All right, so these are our brands. So we have the Amplify Charlotte brand, and that's all about civic engagement. Those are your free resources. That was from the grant that we won in 2018. And so I didn't want the Amplify Charlotte brand to die, so we kept it going. These are free civic engagement resources like toolkits, templates, numbers to call. All of this information lives on our website right now. Our second brand, my new baby, Local Gov Contracts. So that is the training arm of Amplify. And it is a resource hub for small and medium-sized businesses wishing to find and win these contracts in any industry. And that's the website right there. Number 3, I don't know why I keep making more work for myself. We created a Twitter feed called RFP Daily. And so that is where you can go and look at daily bid solicitations issued by public sector agencies, mostly here in North Carolina. And yeah, you can just follow it on Twitter. The photos you see posted, the first one on the top is a photo from a community engagement pop-up shop that we held last spring. And then this one on the bottom is just the webinar that we hosted in February, which really just kind of kicked off a whole series of training events. And I think I just really feel lucky and blessed that we had the know-how to go through with that, because that's why I'm here even talking about this today. All right, our services. We do community engagement consulting. That's the B2B side. A lot of people don't see that side of it. A lot of that is private. A lot of times when I do work with these consulting clients, it is private information shared and really can only be shared publicly when the project is public. And I'm going to be talking to y'all about how to get in the room and how to get these partnerships as well. For example, some of the projects that I've worked on include Charlotte Water's strategic plan. We did employee interviews and we did community focus groups to learn how the community felt about Charlotte Water customer service. Another project that I worked on that's been stalled due to COVID Polk Park is a small park in the middle of Uptown, and they want to redevelop it. They want to, you know how Charlotte is, they want to redevelop it, make it brand new. And I am a subcontractor on that project. So those are two of the projects that I work on the B2B side. And then of course you have the local government contracts website. And then I have the Done For You certification service. That is a service in which we complete your hub and your SBE certifications for you and with you. And in the past, we have gotten companies certified in 30 days. One of my clients is actually on the call today. So Shaniqua/Nikki. So I met her, I think through Jania. And I think I knew her prior to that through your work with the West Boulevard Coalition as well. But so she's one of my clients, and she's just been a dream to work with. The process is basically you enter in your information, and there is a level of trust there, but I basically make sure you dot all the I's and cross all the T's on your applications, and that's how we're able to make sure we get it in quickly. All right, so that's our Done For You service. If you have questions about that, please do not hesitate to ask. All right, so relationships and results. This is what I want you guys to do in your businesses. So Ashley, you run a nonprofit / social impact organization. Is it Janae or Janae? So Janae, you run a products customization, and then Nikki, so you are a mental health counselor. And so what I want you all to do is just write down your last 3 projects that you completed for your business. And those are going to be the basis of your relationships and your results, okay? I don't want people to take this lightly. If you did something that you were paid for, that is a result, that's a deliverable. And so we need to be more mindful about recording these, write them down, So getting in the door with the government contract space, all you really need is your LLC or whatever business designation that you have. It has to be for profit though. And you are going to need your EIN and a business bank account and results. As long as you have results, then you should be good to go. And so you want to foster those relationships. So that's relationships and results, making sure you write down the results that you did get, making sure you track the contact person, their information, so you can reach back out to them for letters of recommendation and things like that. Number 1, research the opportunities that are available. We're going to talk about that today, researching the opportunities that the government has for contracting. Number 2, I want you guys to get your information together. I think I have some speaker notes down at the bottom, but I don't know if I can look at them. I don't know if I can look at them while I'm sharing my screen. Where's my notes? Uh-oh, sorry, y'all. Basically, I want you to get your information together, and it's your basic business information, like your mailing address, physical address. And if you are already established, then you've already got that stuff together. And then number 3, just start collecting wins. You have to really kind of put yourself out there, and you have to be realistic about what it is that you can take on. So right now, the contracts make up a big bulk of my business because I'm actually still working my day job. But the contracts that I'm working on, they make up about probably like 60% of my revenue in my business. The other comes from the Done For You service, and then I also am a freelance writer. And so you have to kind of be realistic. Government contracts are not going to be 100% of your business revenue, especially if you're just starting out. It really is just a supplemental kind of a thing, and it's more of a partnership thing when you're just starting out, especially in the professional services space. A lot of times, if you are in a space that is more technical, okay, the opportunities are more readily available. They're going to be more available if you are working in a technical, construction, mechanical space. Any kind of infrastructure is going to be a lot more available. But if you work in professional services, you're going to have to research a little bit and find the opportunities that fit you. So here's a snapshot of some of the vendors that government's looking for. And let's see if we can place your businesses within some of these categories. So graphic design. Janae, do you design your own designs?
Not all of them, no. Mostly people just send me what they're looking for on their Tumblr, and then I'm able to put it on the special paper I need to transfer it to a cup.
Got you. But do you have retailers, and do you have freelancers that you're connected with who do graphic design services?
Yes.
Well, there you go. I mean, as a subcontractor, it's really about what you have access to, right? And what the results that you've gotten in the past. So it might not be graphic design. Maybe it's, for example, I hate to compare you, but like, for example, Action Plus or 4imprint, governments are using those services constantly. So it might not be the contract space for you. It might just be finding out who the contract specialists are and who the procurement officers are, you know, going on LinkedIn and saying, well, I want to get my tumblers at the City of Charlotte retirement celebration, what have you. You go online and you find out, well, this is the contracting officer. How can I become a vendor?
Okay.
Cool. Is anybody already a vendor for the city or the county? Okay, we're going to talk about that too. Leadership coaching. So if you, Ashley, are, you know, talking about coaching young people or coaching communities on how to be better leaders or something like that, you might have to broaden it a little bit, but coaching is definitely needed in the government space. Diversity training, training employees and things like that. It's very much still needed, even in this virtual world that we're living in. My niche is in the marketing space. Even though what I do is outreach, it still falls within marketing. And then of course you have some of these social service programs like after schools, career coaching, social work itself can be contracted out. School nurses are contracted out. And so these are some of the industries that are covered. Do you have any questions so far?
I do actually. Oh, Shauna, go ahead. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So when you were speaking to me about finding the contractor, or what was the term you used?
Contract specialist.
Okay, the contract specialist. A lot of times what I will do when when I'm looking into something and I'll say, hey, you know, I like this organization. Let me see what it takes, you know, to get in there and maybe I can make some tumblers for them. Generally what I will do is I will find the founder, the organizer, whomever, and I'll say, hey, you know, this is what I do. And I'll introduce myself and I'll say, this is what I do. This is how I would like to, you know, contribute or see if we can perhaps do a partnership or collaboration in reference to your organization. And that's kind of how I've moved forward in the past when I was able to do some of my first logo cups. So is that the same thing, or am I looking for a specific person that handles those contracts?
Well, it's similar. You can always cold call and you can always pitch your services. But in terms of contracting, you want to either reach out to the contract specialist or the procurement specialist for whatever department that you want to service. So I think LinkedIn would be a good tool for that. Just to really anybody who makes the purchasing decisions. And you can say, hey, look, maybe you can even give them a mock-up and say, look, this is what your logo looks like on, you know, this. And so they will probably request more information from you. They'll ask, hey, are you certified? Are you registered? You know, and you can go from there. Or for example, the bulk mailing. I mean, anytime you have the bulk printing, bulk mailing, large scale things, it's very much needed. And if you are printing tumblers and, you know, and you have access to vendors that can do that, then I think that can be another angle for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Shauna?
Do you find people who, I guess you say move in the industry I move, landing contracts well?
That's a good question. So again, you might have to broaden it a little bit because what you do, you connect with people. You're a connection guru. And so you might have to broaden that out a little bit. Maybe you are a supplier. Maybe you do staffing, right? And so you want to think about things that you have results for. So staffing, supplier, connecting people, that could be a good sort of in for you. But we're going to talk a little bit about positioning yourself later on in the presentation. All right, so here's the potential market in the US, and this is just an example. So $4.1 trillion was spent during the recession of 2018. Not the recession, the government shutdown. You guys remember? That was real cute, right? The government was shut down for 35 days. Now we're just like, you know, out here. But even when the government was shut down for 35 days, the federal government still spent over $4 trillion on contract work and vendors. The federal government does have paid employees, but they contract a lot of their work out. I want to give you this snapshot so you can get an idea, but I also want to be realistic, because in this presentation, we're not talking about federal contracts. I just want to give you the idea of how much money is being spent at the federal level. And then down here it says small businesses have the opportunity to provide these services for the government while unemployment is going up. Even that's even happening now. While unemployment is rising, you still have governments spending money because they need to spend money. They need to spend money on contact tracing. They need to spend money on healthcare resources. Who do you think is responsible for doing all these testing sites? If you're not Novant Health or Atrium Health, it's a private vendor. It's a private vendor. All right. So this is just an example. This is from the Charlotte Business Journal. The number, 21%, is the recommended goal for MBE spending. MBE is Minority Business Enterprise. That's the recommended number. But as you can see highlighted in this first segment at the top, it says that between the years 2011 and 2016, the city of Charlotte spent $268 million with MBE businesses, and that's just 15%. But down here it says that this study conducted says that 21% is actually more equitable. And they also determined that there was a substantial disparity between participation and availability. So we are available. The vendors are available. It's just that we are not invited to the table to participate in these contracts. Now down here at the bottom, it says that 18% of the contracts spent in 2018 for the city of Charlotte went to MBE firms, 18%. But then the goal was only 14%. So the city can pat themselves on the back for having this, you know, this small goal that they can easily surpass. And then this last statistic down at the bottom, the city government, the city of Charlotte, has 900 certified MBE businesses. Of those, 44% are owned by African Americans and 74% are in Mecklenburg County. So if 44% of the MBE businesses are owned by African Americans, how many are owned by white women? Can y'all do that math? So was it 60 something percent, right?
No.
Am I not doing that math right?
6%.
Sorry?
56%.
Right. So 56%, nearly 60%. Nearly 60% of the MBE dollars, M and SBE, MWSBE dollars are going to white women. Okay? And so whenever we were growing up, I always heard about affirmative action. You know, they don't use that language anymore, but we know now that white women were actually the best beneficiaries of affirmative action, and that's still going on. And so that's why I think it's so important for you guys to know these numbers, and just know that there is a disparity out there. So if you can position yourself to kind of work in these spaces, then they can stop making excuses. Okay, I'm going to get off that subject. All right, so this is my personal experience. What you see here are some good numbers and some not so good numbers, and a number I left off here by accident. So my average subcontract amount from when I started my business in 2018 to now, I ran the numbers recently, and my average subcontract amount is $22,000. And my average subcontract length of time is at least 8 to 10 months. And so that's being paid out over the course of a year or so. For example, this one, the first one at the top here where it says Form 2, Minority and Small Business Enterprise Participation Plan, this contract became available in February, okay? February. It is now July, and they finally have set our goal. For myself, Amplify Charlotte, and TransLink Consulting, she is a minority business, and I'm listed here as a minority and small business. So we are going to split the 8% goal, right? So Kimley Horn, I don't know if you guys can see that right there. They are the prime. They are a construction and development company here in Charlotte, and they are subcontracting with my agency and this other agency owned by a Black woman, not local, and we are going to split the 8%. That means she and I are going to split $34,000. That's going to be paid out over the course of the contract. And so I just want to give you guys an example of what that looks like. And the typical goal that I've seen is between 8 to 10%, which I think is low, but it's fair in terms of the amount of work that you're doing. Because when you think about it, I mean, public engagement is a big part of development, but truly, the work that I do, you know, I host public meetings, surveys. I'm not doing construction, right? And so it's fair in terms of the amount of work that I'm carrying on the contract. All right, benefits of certification. So you get networking opportunities, partnership opportunities. When you become Hub certified, the Hub office puts you on a list. They send you newsletters. They send you training opportunities. That's what I love about it. Free training, educational, access to bid opportunities, and you're going to be more alert. You're going to be more aware of the different bid opportunities that are becoming available. And then number 4, you get to demonstrate value in a new way. And you can get experience pretty early on as a subcontractor, and you don't have to be the prime. You don't have to take on the full contract. You can take on 8% of the contract and say, well, I can't take on a whole $250,000 contract. That's a lot of work. And it's just, I'm a solopreneur or I have a very small team, but I can take 8% of it, you know? And so you can demonstrate your value in a new way. Eligibility, you have to be a minority or a female, okay? And the minorities in the business must own and control at least 51%. You do have to be a for-profit enterprise. For nonprofits, there are numerous grant opportunities that are available. But if you do have a DBA or you are going in as a sole proprietor, so you can get paid through a 1099 with government contracting. You can totally do that. You don't have to get an LLC. It's good to have an LLC so you don't have that liability, but I'm not a lawyer, so you know, don't take that advice from me. But yeah, you can have a DBA. The minority owner must be in active daily management. So, you know, if you are running your father's company and your father happens to be white, that's not, no. So you have to be a minority owner who's running the company. And then your personal net worth must not exceed $750K. That's an SBA size standard. And then in order to get certified here in Charlotte, North Carolina, this area, you have to have a significant business presence, which means you have to be headquartered here, or you have to do the majority of your business here. I mean, not majority, I mean, you have to have a significant presence, which means, I mean, people from Boston, people from all over, New York, Florida, Houston, are bidding on local contracts here in Charlotte, but they have a local office or they have some relationship here. And then of course you have to provide a useful function for the city / county or state. You have to provide a useful function. So for example, math tutoring services, needed, very needed. Painting, artists, needed. Things that are not so much needed, fashion, design, lifestyle, things like that, but it really has to be a commercially useful function. Landscaping is a great example. All right, so these are the types of certifications I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk to y'all about city, state, and federal. For the Done For You service, I certify state and city, state and local. The City of Charlotte's program is called Charlotte Business Inclusion, and their certification is called SBE, and it's a two-part certification. You can get the SBE and you can get the MBE. All right. Now on the state level, I always say get the hub first because it's the easiest, and the other programs require that you have the hub first. HUB stands for Historically Underutilized Business. You can get your MBE or your WBE, and the WBE again is reserved for white women. And then the federal certification that I know about, I don't do a lot of federal contracting work, but I am DBE certified, and DBE is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and that only is for Department of Transportation work. So DOT work includes the airport, the light rail, roads, bridges, everything. And you might think, well, what do I have to do with a road or a bridge? Well, in my work in terms of marketing, if anything is changing or if they need some outreach done, then that's where I would fit in. So kind of think about where you fit in some of these areas. All right, oh, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to catch you before you moved on from the slide before last. When you were talking about the providing the commercially useful function like of the city, as far as the contracts and the bids. I am in Houston. I think most of you ladies or all of y'all are in North or South Carolina. But I have a really big outreach in like North and South Carolina now. So while I have customers here, I have a lot of people that I do business with in those two states. Is that the same thing, or do I fall into the, okay, we don't really need that service kind of a platform?
That's a good question. Do you have a P.O. box here? Do you have a mailbox in North Carolina or South Carolina? No? You should get a mailbox in North Carolina because that is, they consider that a presence. Hold on, let me see if I can open up the page.
Shauna, you gonna check my mail?
Absolutely. That's interesting because I was getting ready to ask you, do you have to live in that city or state to become certified?
No, you do not.
Interesting.
You have to have a physical presence. So you can live in South Carolina in another county, but you do need to at least have a mailbox or some type of headquarters within the area. What am I looking for? Here we go.
And do you have to be headquartered for a certain amount of time?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I do not think so. I'm getting ready to open up the eligibility requirements. You know how I found this so easily yesterday, but then now I can't find it. Hold on, MWSBE. Here we go. Do you guys see this? Are you guys seeing this? Okay, yeah. Good. It says MWBEs must be certified with the hub. Here we go. Significant business presence. Is the business headquartered or have an office in the Charlotte CSA? Do you have full-time employees in the Charlotte CSA? Do you have a lease agreement? Are you a part of a co-working space? That could work. If you get a co-working membership in Charlotte, you can, that's a presence. Do you have previous contracts? Do you have a percentage of your income? So if you have a lot of clients in North and South Carolina, you can say, wow, the Carolinas are 30% of my revenue right now.
What if you don't have employees?
You do not have to have employees.
No.
No.
Okay. 'Cause I don't have employees yet.
Right. I don't either. I use independent contractors. So basically, I'm going to go back because this next slide actually gets to your question, I think. And I don't know how do I go back full screen? But so this slide gets to your question around the city's certifications, right? So yeah, you have to either live or do business in any of these. I think it's 12 counties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 to 12 counties So you don't have to live in Charlotte or Mecklenburg County. You can live in York County. I mean, Rock Hill, it doesn't matter. Any of this region, you can get the SBE certification, all right? And so that is your local level certification. And then this highlight at the bottom, it says, you know, the SBE is more concerned with the size and value of your business and your personal income. So this is the SBE. They want to make sure that your business is a true small business, okay? Now the hub, on the other hand, the hub cares more about your ethnicity. They want to make sure that this is a true minority-owned business. So they're not going to ask you a bunch of questions about your finances and revenue, but they will. You actually have to get a ethnicity document certified, notarized. You have to go and notarize the fact that you're Black or, you know, a minority status. Okay, and so the hub is a state level certification. Again, it's concerned with your ethnicity. And when you do get this certification, it puts you on a list of MBE firms who are notified when contract opportunities become available. So we talked about local, we talked about state, federal. I'm not going to get too much into federal. Federal is concerned with the size and value of your business and your personal income. Again, the SBE size standards, they want to make sure that you are making under 750K in your income and also your personal assets, including your home and other assets that you own. Private industry. I'm still learning about this a little bit. I'm in the process right now of getting my WBENC, the WBENC certification. But again, these certifications are more interested in your identity. They want to make sure you are a minority, and they actually want to know about your business reputation and your results. So the hub and the city, they're not so concerned. I mean, they want to know about your results. They want to have a list of projects from you. But these private industry suppliers, I think they're a lot more interested in your business reputations and the results that you have attained. And I think the reason behind that is because private contracts they can be a lot more, they can just be bigger, you know, and have a larger capacity there. And I don't have my, I'm looking at my screen, so I don't see if you guys have questions, but do chime in if you do have a question, because I'm just going to go through this quickly because I have a lot more to get through. All right. So the additional documents, and Nikki, you might be familiar with this because we're going through the certification process right now. These are the additional documents that you're going to want to attach to your applications, and the city and the state. All the applications will list this out, and I just put it here on the slide for you guys to look at. Out of all of these, which ones seem like the hardest for you guys to get right now? Or what questions do y'all have about these particular documents?
The personal net worth statement, I looked into that when as a part of getting some insurance that I was looking at. What exactly is that? Because I've gotten so many different definitions of what it is. It's everything you own. If you sold everything down to your underwear, it's this. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Is there a more simple or give me some clarification on what exactly that personal net worth is? Because it's seeming to become a thing when you go to apply for, like, you know, your DBAs and LLCs and things, and I want to be accurate with that information.
Yes, so that is, they want to make sure that your net worth doesn't exceed a certain amount. And they want to make sure that your debts and your liabilities don't exceed a certain amount in relation to your assets. So your net worth is going to be, I think it's assets minus liabilities. So your assets include your income, your homes, anything that's going to appreciate in value. Any other businesses that you own, right? I mean, if you own other businesses, you own other investments, stocks, and then you're going to subtract out the liabilities. And liabilities include credit card debt, mortgage payments, car payments, debt payments on business work that you've done in the past. And so really the personal net worth statement is kind of like they just want to do a background check on and make sure that the numbers make sense, and just make sure that you're not this person that owns 14 boats and 13 buildings. It really is. If you if you are a small business owner with normal assets, then it really shouldn't be too much. So yeah. Other questions?
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
If no, sorry, if no one else is gonna
No,
chime
please,
in.
please.
Articles, I'm so sorry. Articles of organization. I've actually never seen that term before. What exactly is that?
So they use all these terms, but really it's just your LLC paperwork.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's what they call it. They have the articles of organization that list the name of your business, and it's signed by the Secretary of State.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Absolutely, yeah.
I do. I have a question too, because I remember with the young business that webinar. I remember y'all mentioning. I don't know if you say NAICS
Oh,
code
yes.
or
The NAICS code.
Okay.
This is, I should not have included that, because that is actually for the DBE. It's a federal thing, but it is a good way to find contracts in your industry. If you go to NAICS.com, NAICS, these are the industry codes. So there's a marketing code. It starts with the 5. There's a policy code. It starts with the 9. Laundry, janitorial, each of these services has a code that goes with it. And when you get certified, you also submit the codes that correspond with your business, and that's how they know which contracts to send you. So if you have the marketing code on your certification application, then they know, okay, here's a marketing company, without having to look at the title. Like Amplify, I don't know what Amplify is. It's like, was that an IT company? But if you have my codes that go with it, then that's what it is. Another way to say that is commodity code. All right. Okay, so what I want you all to do, we're kind of, and I should have put the agenda back up just to remind you guys where we're at. So this is the part of the agenda where I want you guys to start to take action. I want you to find a contract or find an RFP. And since everything is virtual now, this might be a little bit easier for us to do, to kind of just be a fly on the wall, right? So this screenshot here is from an RFQ that we saw. Well, actually, this is the one from February that we got the contract for. And so they actually have this schedule right here where the RFQ was advertised on February 18th, and then they have a pre-submittal meeting on February 27th. And as you can see, they thought it was going to be in person. It turned out to not be in person. And so what you can do at these meetings, you can ask questions about the RFP and say, what is this? What am I reading here? Tell me about the scope. You can learn about the scope of the RFP. You can learn about the budget of the project and say, well, I thought this was a 6-figure project, but really they're only budgeting $50,000 for this. I don't think this is worth my time. You can ask about the budget. You can ask about previous budgets for this type of work. You can learn about the MBE goals. So the MBE goal is not always going to be on the RFP. Sometimes you have to ask point blank, hey, what's your minority goal for this project? And then you can network. You can network with other people and sort of get your name in the room and say, hey, I'm Amplify. Like, oh, okay, you are some big construction company. I've heard of you guys before, but we've never worked together before. Maybe we should work together, So it's a good way to get your name in the room. All right, and I feel like I'm missing something. I had a slide in here around finding the bids. And so if I don't get to that, you guys make sure you ask me at the end. So positioning your business. This is kind of continuing from your question earlier, Janae, around how can you really position yourself around what you do. And I don't want you to have to lie or exaggerate what you do. And I don't want you to have to compromise anything, I don't want you to have to do that. Somebody asked me in a Facebook group recently, well, somebody told me that government contracts work for everybody. Is that true? I said, yeah. And she said, well, I don't want to have to change my curriculum to fit public schools. And I said, well, then no. If you don't want your curriculum to be in a public school, then no, it's not for you, right? So the lady, I think the type of work she did was, I think it was like holistic wellness centered around African culture. And that's such an interesting topic. And I said, I think that would be great in a public school, but she believes that she's going to have to change her mission. She's going to have to change herself. And I said, I don't want you to compromise anything, okay? But sometimes you do have to broaden it out a little bit. So example of some government clients: community colleges, state colleges, cities, towns, school districts, public health departments, housing services departments need our help. They need us. They need us because we look like the communities that we serve. And so those are some examples of the clients. And then the tactics. You can research some of the past contracts that have been awarded in the past, and you can say, oh, wow, I didn't know that this company ran this internship program. It could turn out to be somebody that you know or you're friends with on Facebook, and you contact them and say, hey, how did you get in the door for this particular contract? You can befriend the contract people on LinkedIn, right? And just say, hey, I'm trying to break into this space. What are your needs in the next year? What kind of things are you going to be buying? Do you need more swag, right? Do you need some different swag? We have some cool swag that we can present to you. And then just learn about the investment priorities by going to city council meetings and going to board meetings. If you go to the city council meeting or just listen in, they'll say, well, we got $500 million from the federal, and this is a true story. We got $500 million from the federal government to address COVID-19 specifically in minority communities. Boom. You better believe I'm going to pull up, right? So how can you position yourself to help and provide engagement and provide service for what they need? All right.
Excuse me, Christine. Does that number change annually?
What's that?
The number that they have, the amount of money they have available for, it changes annually?
It does. Yes, because the budgets are done on an annual basis, and the budgets are never the same. So the city's budget is around $1.9 billion, and they spend, I don't want to get too in the weeds on this stuff, but it's been in the news lately. They spend a lot on public safety, i.e. CMPD. And they spend a lot on infrastructure, the light rail, right? You have to look at where the money is going. And so the money that they set aside for government contracts and minority contracts, it's not a designated number. They have a goal, right? They have that goal that sits between 18 to 20% right now. And that is a goal. It's okay, look, out of the $1.9 billion that we spend this year, 18% needs to go to minority contractors. That means we need to show up, and so that goal changes every few years. Sometimes they do these disparity studies to adjust the goals, but for the most part, it's pretty average around that 15 to 18, maybe even 20%. All right, that is positioning your business. Now, branding your business for government looks a little different. So everybody knows about a resume, right? Your work resume. So for the government, your business resume is going to be your capability statement. And how many of you guys have heard of LaPronda Fan? Right. So I have to give her all the credit for this capability statement. Y'all, I sent her my capability statement. Matter of fact, I met her a couple times, but I got to really talk to her at a networking event. It was like a $25 networking event, and this was back before COVID, and we had brunch and everything, and I had printed out my capability statements because I wanted to put it in her hand. And she said, oh, I'll take a look at this later. And so then she emailed me that same night and said, Christine, I really appreciate you, introducing yourself and giving me your capability statement, it's all wrong. It's so bad. And so she sent me a template and she said, this is what needs to go on your capability statement. And this is what we came up with. You got to have consistent contact information, you know, consistent branding. And then you're going to want to put, it's like a basic resume, but the things that are going to stand out for government, they want to know that you have a DUNS number and a CAGE code. And those are the numbers that the federal government uses to track payments that are made to your company, your NAICS codes that we talked about, and then your NIGP, that's just it's a commodity code for the city of Charlotte. And then down here, you're going to list your socioeconomic certifications. What makes you different? What makes my company different is that we put engagement first. Like, yeah, we do marketing, blah, 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 but we put engagement first. We want to get in front of people. That's what we do. And then you just list at the bottom your current projects. And you use this capability statement at vendor resource fairs, networking events, pre-bid meetings, right? When you go to the pre-bid meeting and you meet with the potential prime and you say, hey, look, here's my capability statement. And they'll look at the bottom and say, oh, well, I see that you're currently still working on the Charlotte Water Project. Are you going to have capacity to work on something else? And then, you know, you can just kind of go from there. So this gives a really good idea of what you got going on.
So this is just basically a business resume.
Yes.
Like everything that you've done. Okay, so like if you're just like you have like the Charlotte, you know, water project and whatever contracts you currently have or have worked on, that's your current project's past performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you have more content in one area, then I would highlight that. Like say, for example, let's say you don't have your certifications yet, but you do have your hub and maybe you have your SBE, but that section is not huge. You can expand your project section to be bigger. You want to highlight what you have most. And I think for mine, it's pretty spread out evenly, but I could probably be stronger. I could probably be a lot stronger in my project section. I just haven't updated it yet. And I could probably be stronger in my certifications too, because I'm working on those other certifications currently. So yeah. All right. Oh, here it is. Where to find contract opportunities. I think I should be able to send this out to you guys later on. I know it's a lot of information. So the one that's at the top is my favorite. That's the only one I would normally go to, and that is the one I visit nearly every day. I sign up for email notifications. It's called the NC Interactive Purchasing System, and it's NC for North Carolina. I'm sure that other states have purchasing systems, but this system is so easy to use, y'all. You can search contracts by keyword. You can search by bid number. You can search by agency. So if you want to know specifically if Central Piedmont Community College has work coming up, you can go on the IPS, Interactive Purchasing System, and literally just search by agency. I love that. Another place to find contract opportunities is on that Charlotte Business Resources website that I was just on. They also have an early bird Charlotte Business Resources website. I have found that that's mostly for maintenance workers and like construction, because those longer term projects that they know, oh, we're going to need construction 6 months from now. Those are really for them. City of Charlotte Doing Business with the City page, the RFP Daily account. I would encourage you guys to follow us there. We post daily bid opportunities. USAspending.gov. This is great for nonprofits too. Grants.gov. MECprocure.com, and then bidnet.com. These are all places to find contracts. All right. My awesome clients. So this is for the Done For You certification service. I talked a little bit about my B2B clients and the work that I do for them. It's really just, it's more private work that is public whenever the project is public, but really, this is what I want to talk to you guys about today. The diversity of clientele that I'm able to get certified. It's just been amazing working with all these people. So Bodywork at Work, they're a mobile massage studio. Vet Deck, that is owned by Anovia Bedford. She is one of the co-founders of Black Tech Charlotte. And so her company is actually a tech company, but it deals with sponsorships and branding and connecting people to sponsorships. Then you have the Breakfast Catering Company. He's a caterer, and you don't get that a lot. You don't get a lot of breakfast caterers that specifically focus on breakfast food. So, and he's already a vendor. The crazy thing about his story is he's already a city vendor, and he has already done projects with the city of Charlotte, but he never got certified. And so what that means is that he could be leaving money on the table, because even he might be like on a list of preferred vendors, but if they are able to check that box off and say, we met our goal by working with you, they're going to be even more happy to work with you. And then of course we had True Pearl Solution Services, PLLC, my newest client. So Nikki, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about why you wanted to pursue certifications?
I can. Well, I wanted to pursue certification. I spoke with Jania about it maybe 2 years ago or so when she was starting her process, right? Because I was looking into the minority aspect, because a lot of times we go into the community, like myself, when we talk about different resources that's available to individuals, and then also the fact that a lot of us don't have capital. So 9 times out of 10, we're working an actual job while building the job that we want, that's purpose driven. And so I was saying that even though there aren't any advertisements or people aren't really speaking about therapy, let alone consulting within that realm of work on a governmental level, there is a lane still for me, right? So then that way I might not go in and provide therapy to the whole agency, but I can come in and I can provide that cultural sound aspect for those individuals who are Black and brown, who look like us, who have to navigate into those spaces. So I can provide psychoeducational information, even resources, because once again, like Christine said, a lot of these companies like to just check off a box. But even though they're checking off a box, on the other hand, I'm getting some coins, and I'm also doing purpose-driven work because I'm meeting people and I'm educating people on that aspect. And then in lieu, one hand washes the other, because, for instance, I might be able to acquire a client, not necessarily therapy, but who wants to really talk about other things beyond just that, your mental health. That's going to come along, because when you're talking about life and the things that you want, and you're speaking with someone who is a therapist, that's tie in at one way or another. So eventually you'll get there, but we'll be talking about those things and just exploring it on another level. So that's another way to network too, right? To gain just to gain exposure, and so that other people can see that there's someone that looks like me that's not operating within that realm that we've been so used to seeing. Even on TV, when we think of therapy and we think of anything, we're thinking about psychiatrists, psychologists, who's going to pump you full of medication, who's going to overdiagnose you, but we're not thinking at it as a preventative aspect, where someone that you can talk to is unbiased, right? You have a safe space to talk about anything under the sun. If you want to talk about how your grandmama, father, daddy, whoever pissed you off, then you can come in that space and talk about that. And you don't have to leave with a diagnosis or some medication, right? And then you can leave with a better insight that's unbiased from relatives, because within our cultural aspect, a lot of therapists miss it because they don't understand that some of our cultural nuances is the fact that we divert to our relatives, spirituality, friends, and things of that nature, which tends to cloud our judgment. So just to tie it back in, just another way to network, another way to just put myself out there, just on an educational aspect, because education ties in with consulting, right? And then it also ties in with the fact that the community advocacy work. So I looked at it from a bigger umbrella to know that, hey, where does it tie in with my purpose-driven work? So as long as it ties back into that community aspect for me, then I'm down with going down any path, to get to my eventual goal. So that's why I truly wanted to do it. And then so Jania spoke very highly of Kristen and Christine, and then we actually met in the community too. So we've met and seen each other from time to time. So I was like, let me I believe wholeheartedly in supporting our own, because I believe in our own social economic development as well. Because so far we've been behind on the curve. So I like at any given time that I can provide some type of monetary resource, or I can patronize somebody's business, then I'm going to do that. And she has made it seamless, gave me my bulleted, and I'm bulleted anyway. So she gave me my bullets that I needed, and I'm checking off. Oh, let me send that. She'll let me know if it's wrong, but I'm going to send it anyway. And then there you go. So that's why, in a nutshell, why I chose to move forward with the process, just to be under that umbrella of minority-owned business. So we're out here and we can provide that service to other people and bring other people in and educate them a little bit more on it. Not necessarily gaining contracts, but it's just networking. Like Shayna always talks about, is networking. So anywhere you can get on that platform and you can get a part of an organization or a certification where you can network and expound your overall presence, then I'm for it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And then this last one, the last couple are Suds and Duds. He is a mobile laundry service. And then this last one is called Home Key Online. She is a mortgage lawyer. So she's a mortgage specialist and she's an attorney. She's actually based in South Carolina, but she wanted to get certified for North and South Carolina for the Mecklenburg County region, so that she can provide consulting services through her law practice. All right. COVID-19 resources. This is just a list of resources that that I came across and that I had in other spaces, but I wanted to share with y'all. And so when I share the presentation with you, these should be active links that you can click on. So I'm going to share that with y'all later on. All right. Where to find us. So we're wrapping up. I really want to encourage you all to just look for us on Google. We upload all of our training videos on YouTube, and we also just redid the website. I told you guys I was playing around with the branding a little bit. And so you can visit our website at amplifycharlotte.com. You can visit our YouTube at Amplify Charlotte, and you can see at the top here, it's got, you know, community consulting / local government contracts. And then of course our Google page, which was just set up. And I'm trying to get some more Google reviews. It just helps, it helps with the SEO and it helps with our business reputation. So I would love you guys to just find us and find me online at Amplify CLT on IG, Miss Edwards CLT on IG and Twitter. And then we also have an Instagram page for the local government contracts. Is a little outdated, but you can follow that one as well. All right, ladies, look, y'all, you deserve nice things, okay? So I just want to say you deserve this. So the next thing that I'm going to share with you is the offering that I have for you. And I just want you to know that you deserve nice things. You worked so hard to get where you are today. And it's really important to make investments in yourself and make investments in your business so that your clients can see that reflected in your work, right? And so I just really appreciate you all being here today. And I just want, if nobody has told you, you deserve it. You deserve nice things. So this is my offer for you. I want you all to win your first contract. I want you to write down your 3 relationships, right? I want you to go out and find a bid opportunity, put a bid meeting on your calendar, and just kind of be a fly on the wall. But I also want you to schedule a virtual strategy session with me if you would like to learn more about whether your business is eligible and ready. And if you want to kick off that done for you process, I'm giving everyone today a code. Use the code relationships for $10 off of your virtual strategy session. So that's my offer for you today. I think that's it. I'm going to leave this slide up just for a second so you guys can get the code. And you enter that code in at checkout, and the website is going to be localgovernmentcontracts.com. I should have put that on the slide. And so that's the code. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Please let me know what other questions you have. I know we're running short on time, but I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
Christine, what was that code again? I missed the code. I was writing down everything else.
Oh, my bad. Relationships. So you just enter the code relationships at checkout, and you can get $10 off the virtual strategy session. And so that way you can get one-on-one with me. You get an hour plus of my time and just pick my brain and all that good stuff. And then I send you home with your action plan so you can go ahead and start the process of getting certified. And y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. Getting certified in the state of North Carolina is a free process, but it's tedious and it's complicated. And if you don't know what you're doing, it can take you anywhere from between a year to 2 years if you're not motivated. Like most of my clients that come to me have been in their business for 2 to 5 years already. They just never got certified because they don't have time. They're running their business. They're raising their families. And so that is why my $500 done for you process, it just takes all of the pressure off of you. I don't care what it looks like, whatever you send to me, I'll fix it on the back end, right? And so there's a level of trust. And so again, that done for you service is a $500 service. And then what I'm offering you today is just, $10 off of your virtual strategy session, so we can determine, or do you want a DIY or do you want me to do it for you? So, all right. Thank y'all so much.
I have one final question. When you were speaking about, we were talking about the contracts, assets, liabilities, and the personal net worth, and then we got to the business resume, where you put in the information for are the contracts considered an asset if there's still like a royalty attached to it? Like, for instance, I have a contract with a magazine that I work with, and I'm the exclusive tumbler maker for that magazine. So, but she gets like a $10 kickback from like every tumbler, that I make, because it's, her brand, her name. Is that considered a liability because she's getting a kickback and there's a royalty attached, or is it considered an asset, something that I would add to my personal net worth? I went there, I'm sorry.
That's a hard question. I think it's more of an asset because it's about not the commitment. What's the word? It's about the agreement that she made to you about the amount that she's going to pay you. And the amount that she gets back is only based on the amount that you get paid in the first place. So I think that's more of an asset in terms of like income that you have coming in. And your personal net worth statement, they're not talking about your future income. They're talking about the income you have right now. So whatever income or revenue that you've earned from that contract already, not the potential. Okay.
I just wanted to know if it was different with like a royalty attached, because I have one that's royalty free, and I just the logo and it's fine. But hers, my price is like $55, and then she gets like a $10 kickback off each one. So I wanted to kind of make sure where I was standing on that. So that helped.
I'm going to look that up, and I'm going to add that to, that's a great question. I'm going to add that to my training. I'm going to type that in the chat. I'm going to look up royalties in relation to contracts, because the hub, they want to know, are you a franchise? Are you really running your business as a subsidiary of another business? So then that's not a really good look. So if you're getting a royalty, I know that works differently, but if your business is dependent on this royalty, or it makes up more than 50% of your income, then that means that, right? So that means that this company has that much control over your business. They want to know that you have the control. You have the control over your business. You control what goes in and out of it. So I'm going to look that up and try to get a better answer for you, but I think that's more of an asset. I think that's
okay. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate that. Was my last question, y'all, I promise.
You are perfectly fine. That is what this is about. This is information that we're gaining, we're learning. And so the questions that you do have, we are just a little bit over the 1 o'clock hour, but I think it was absolutely worth it. Because I'm looking like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to fix my life, right? Christine Edwards, me please. But I think that is important. So what questions you may have, make sure that you're asking them because it's like I was telling some people last night. I was doing this interview with this other girlfriend of mine who is a client curator. Basically, she helps you keep your current clients because she always tells us 20%, 80% of your future revenue will only come from 20% of your current clients, right? But my point was, when we are in these kind of settings and we're getting information, y'all, this is free game. This is someone giving us their intellectual property. They're sharing their knowledge of the things that they know with us for free. So what questions you have while you have these people at your disposal, ask them. That's the whole point. Connect with them. So do you have any more questions for Christine?
I do have a question, Christine, real quick, about how long does it take to get certified? I know the process is tedious, but once the process is complete, how long does it take?
That's a good question. So, and I'm glad you asked it because it's a little bit of different now due to COVID-19. So normally it takes between 30 to 60 days for the hub and the SBE. The SBE can take up to 90 days because they have to do the personal net worth and reach out to business references. But the hub is pretty quick. Now I'm going to tell you, the hub normally is a mail-in application, and their mail service is in Raleigh, and their mail service is down right now because everybody's working from home. And so what you're going to do with the hub application is you're actually going to contact one of the hub specialists, and you're going to email it to them. You scan it and email it into them. And the SBE, I think, is a similar process now due to COVID and due to everybody working from home. It's going to be anywhere between 30 to 90 days to turn around that application.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? What takeaways do you have?
Yeah, what are your takeaways?
Outside of, I need to get certified. What takeaways do you have?
I need to get my
Yes, I got a lot from the explanation for the personal net worth and just the government contracts in general, as to, like, you know, how those actually work and what you need to accomplish all that. Did not know a single bit of that. So I've heard people talking about them, but as far as acquiring them and getting the certifications, I had no idea it was that intricate. So I would happily pay when I get my coins together for someone to do it for me, because I would not go that by myself. So the capability statement and everything, knowing actually what it takes to get these certifications and what they mean and what they're for, yeah, all that, absolute gold. So now I know what to do here in the state of Texas, or at least a blueprint. It may be a little different for me because I'm in a different state than you guys.
That's
But
true.
yeah.
It could be different for you in Texas. What city are you in?
Houston.
You're in Houston, okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be different, but you're going to Google the same terms, doing business with Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Houston contract specialist. So, you know, you can, I'm sure they have a state level and probably a city level. And in Texas, I know that's a big energy, you know, place. So energy, oil, engineering, anything like that. So, yeah.
Ashley, you said you had a question.
My takeaway was the capability statement. I mean, that statement that was just like the cherry on top. So when someone says, you know, how people will do in certain spaces, oh, so this is what I've done, and da 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 da, you're like, bam, look at my capability statement.
And the only reason I'm so proud of it because LaPronda did that. You know, and she didn't do it for me, but she was nice enough to tell me your stuff was messed up, and you know, and she was nice enough to tell me that this is what it should look like, or some variation of this. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to have your picture on it, but it helps. It doesn't have to be in rows like this, but it helps, you know. So yeah, thank you so much. And also one of the thank you. That was one of the things that I wanted to offer my paying clients, is giving them a template so they can get started, you know, with their, you know, get started to win these contracts too. So thank you.
Clean. It's very clean and easy.
Very polished. Yeah.
Awesome.
LaPronda ain't no joke though.
No joke.
When I saw the capability statement, I'm like, yes, girl.
Yeah, that got me. That capability statement was like, oh, really?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
looking at myself like,
Like,
my resume be spruced up to look like a capability statement because this right here.
So
is
yeah, I
everything.
mean, and I'm trying to stick with the, when you see that blue, right? When you see that quote bubble, that's me. That's Amplify. You have to have this brand that follows you, that's visually appealing, especially in this virtual world that we're living in now. You got to keep it interesting. And Lashana, you do a great job of keeping these events interesting. Nobody's going to come anyway. I don't want to get into that, but but you have to keep it interesting. It's got to be visually appealing. So yeah, so you got to put your best foot forward.
Thank you so much. Ashley, did you want to share what your takeaway was?
My takeaway was I need my whole business strategy together, but I was specifically really interested in, because I do nonprofit, but trying to step into the consulting space and bridge kind of the gap between community outreach and effective delivery of services from government aspect. And that is the consulting lane I'm stepping into, but seeing how to separate them, because one, my nonprofit can't necessarily get business contracts, but we can get grants, but trying to tie the two, but also separate the two was interesting. But the capability statement was a big takeaway from me, and all the opportunity. I was also like, it was motivating to see that there is opportunity for minority-owned businesses to, get these government contracts. So, I had a lot of
sauce. Like a lot of, I'm telling you what kind of put the nail in the coffin for me, so to speak, because you know how sometimes when you're looking at something, you hear something. Sometimes hearing it more than once, you get a different look at it. Or so my different look at it today was actually, Nikki, your reason for why you felt like you needed to be certified, and I liked how you emphasized the fact that you wanted to still be able to push your purpose in the things that you were doing, just with government contracts. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I may be. But what I'm saying is that her purpose, it never went away from your purpose. My husband and I were having this conversation there about when we were younger and how like money was really our purpose because we was getting it, right? We was getting it. And now that looks different because money's not so let me say this the right way. Yes, I want to make money. Yes, I want to be rich, but money's not my motivator anymore. It's deeper than that, right? So just sharing that this was the reason why, that was a good takeaway for me. And Christine, I think you did you remind me of my aunt when you speak. I mean, like literally sound just like her. You did an excellent job in your presentation and just sharing the information. Like whoever didn't show up, they missed this. Like that's how I feel about it. They missed this, right? Because it's just such good information. It's always something new that we can learn. So do you have anything else that you want to say and or share before we wrap up? Because I know that lunch went over, but it was good. The food was good.
Yeah, I feel full. I feel like
I'm tight.
I feel good about it. I don't have anything additional to share with y'all. I just want you to know you work hard. I know that all of you ladies work hard, and you deserve to have nice things. You deserve to expand your portfolio. And so I just want you to know that. And I encourage you to research some bid opportunities, be a fly on the wall, reach out to us. I put my email here in the chat. I'd be happy to talk to any of y'all.
Awesome sauce. And I definitely see some, I definitely see some relationships that need to occur here. I could show them to you, but I think you guys can find them on your own. Needless to say, I have enjoyed this. All I ask from you guys, oh, wait a minute, Janae, your hand is raised. Did you have something else?
Oh, that was way back when the slide where I was trying to catch her. I was trying to like be all Zoom professional and like click the raise your hand.
Listen, I just saw the little hand raised. All I ask from when you come to We Meet, We Eat. So I love We Meet, We Eat is kind of like what happens at the table stays at the table, but I do like for people to to share on social media what their takeaway was. Tag a girl, right? Because we're all looking to grow our business in whatever way we need to. So tag the Connection Guru, share what you thought about We Meet, We Eat. And I mean, if you think that it could have been better, say that, right? If you think that it was the bomb, say all of that. Okay. But I thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me for lunch today. I hope that we will continue to grow our relationships. I will be sending out the contact information in just one moment to you guys so that you have it. But as I always tell people, I got you in the room. It's your job to connect. So make sure that you connect with each other. And y'all, let's go live out loud, okay?
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Hi, ladies.
Thank you guys.
Thanks so much.
I'm gonna reach out to you, Nikki, too, because I got an idea. But I
Thank you.
appreciate you guys.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.